Recorded live with little or no editing. It's Defense Up War Edition, and today we're going over Sam's defense. I am very rusty at War. It's kind of funny because this segment of my channel on YouTube actually started out with War reviews, and we've gone full circle, coming back around to War again. If you want your defense featured on Defense Up, whether it be War or Crucible, you can find me in the links down below. DM me on Discord. We'll get you on the list. Your choice of whatever you want to be featured on. It's first come, first serve. I don't usually bump people up or down unless there's a very specific reason to do so. And I'm working on getting through those videos a little bit faster. I had absolute greatest War content creator the world has ever seen, Pathfinder Gaming, in here, along with Strategy Shiro and Updog, and Benny West. I jumped in at the last minute as well. You can always come find me and other content creators having a great time on my stream Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday on Twitch. Come jump into chat and make fun of us. Everybody else does, and we all have good laughs. No, Pathfinder, I was really glad he came here because Pathfinder is very serious about War and had some great ideas on these defenses. And we're going to get into it now as soon as I get my mouse over here and stall for time a little bit longer. Okay. In room one, we have Black Order. They aren't receiving the benefits that they used to in War. One way you can punch this up a little bit is by putting Cloak and Dagger in here. In fact, we're going to talk about breaking up the new Warriors a lot because everybody knows how to beat them now. And so you can do things like try and draw out other teams that use the same counter as the new Warriors. Better yet, start doing what the competent players at the high end are doing and break up that team using the pieces. So we're going to put Cloak and Dagger in here instead of the married couple Corvus Glaive and Proxima Midnight. Also, Ebony Maw does not have healing in his kit. He has health steal. Making him a healer doesn't do a whole lot of good. So we want to make him a skirmisher for the focus boost, making sure his ability block lands. I'm going to give this one a C as it stands. It's pretty meh. It's not doing anything. It's more of a filler the way it is here. I think if we make those changes, it'll probably bring it up to the best version of Black Order that we can have. In room two, we have the Death Seed team. The reason this was on here was to draw out counters. They wanted people using the mirror. The mirror is an easy way to beat this team because you use the special to cleanse the team of bleeds, and then you roll over the other team who still is blinded. We don't want to do that. Instead, if you want to keep this team in here, put Rhino in here to help kind of slow some things down and make it play out differently. Or you could replace this team with Weapon X on defense is a better way to go. This isn't a terrible idea. Mags as a striker is a better way to go because then you're getting the double tap off of him. However, I do think the Rhino variant is probably a little bit better way to go because we're not going to worry so much about drawing counters with his team anymore. Or you could use them on offense if you want and just replace it with Weapon X. As is, I'm going to give this a B+. It's not a terrible version, but I think we should do something else at this point in time and a whole different strategy. In room three, it's the Asgardian team with Dormammu. This team absolutely gets whooped blind by the War Dogs. Actually, there's no blind happening on it, I guess, so that's a bad analogy. But anyway, War Dogs punches up. I have punched up nearly 100% with the War Dogs on this team. You simply land the Disrupt on Beta Ray Bill and go all in on Vol, and the Vol loses their revive and the team starts to crumble real fast. So don't use this variant. Instead, you could replace Dormammu with Gwenpool from that new Warriors, and that's going to help out against the War Dog counter, and it's not going to be as susceptible with the Eternals counter either. However, Pathfinder Gaming has another thing that you guys might want to try out. It's a Phoenix, Colossus, Valkyrie, Val, and Beta Ray Bill composition. He says it's kind of fun to use. It may not work for your entire war strategy, but it's something if you happen to have those two newly reworked X-Men characters built up. It's a place to use them. However, this is a waste. Let's either use Dormammu on offense or we have some other places that you could use Dormammu. But this one's old news and it's kind of just a liability for an older war meta offensive team to come in and crush it. For me, this is probably like a C-. I think we're wasting good characters and it's not going to be all that effective. All right, team number 4 is the New Warriors, and this is a D team at this point. It's very, very useful as pieces, and it's almost useless as a 5-piece on your roster anymore. If you really, really want to keep this, then we drop Dagger and we add in Chavez, and you place Chavez in between Firestar and Cloak, speeding them up, makes the team way tougher. However, Dagger's kind of useless on her own anywhere else. There's not a whole lot to do. And we want to use that Cloak and Dagger in room 1 anyways. And Firestar is a great tool. You could use her. She's not a tool. I mean, you know, she's important, but let's not call her a tool, right? Okay, anyway, she's a useful piece that can be used with either the Secret Defenders or the Hive Mind. If she pops off on that Hive Mind team with or on that Secret Defenders team with all those bleeds, Robbie just goes and goes and goes. And on Hive Mind as well, you're gonna be able to knock people under and get that team rolling also. So those are 2 other defenses you could use instead of this. So I say, let's, you know, throw in Hive Mind, Firestar in here instead. All right. As for this team, I kind of think it's a D for me. And the ISOs as they are good enough. All right. Over here, we have the Extreme Rogue Chavez. We're moving Chavez probably someplace else, and instead we could replace it with Dorm. This isn't a bad team, though. Pathfinder says that you should probably swap places Forge and Gambit because of certain counters and reasons that we're not going to get into because these videos are already starting to run long. He likes Forge as a striker, which surprised me because I like Forge as a healer. Either choice is probably good. I don't think much of the things that you could do with this are going to change the outcome. Dormammu in here so that you could use Chavez elsewhere is a great idea, just for a little more versatility. But as is, I'm going to go ahead and give this team an A-. It's in the ballpark of what you want things to do, and it's pretty good. So let's get at least a placement tweak on this to start out. But otherwise, swapping in... oh, I'm sorry, not Dormammu. I'm sorry. Swapping in Skrull to make this the super team. Excuse me. You could swap Skrull in place of Chavez to make this a much more challenging composition to go into is one thing. But it's going to be beat by the A-Force with Photon or the Underworld team, depending on how you have it play out. But it's still pretty solid. I think you could probably swap Dormammu in here as well. Probably wouldn't be that big a deal. All right, moving on. Over here is the Darkhold team with Namor, and Namor's not doing any favors here. His kit is designed around war offense. You might as well just go with Scarlet Witch at this point. Whatever you do, it's not going to change much. I like the placement, I like the ISOs and everything, but let's reserve Namor for offense rather than war defense and just go with a 5-piece team. You can get a little bit more value out of it. It's not a very exciting team, but it's here and it's filling a space. I'm going to go ahead and give it an A-. There's not really anything wrong happening here other than the Namor thing. In room 7, the New Avengers is a team I don't really like a whole lot, but have recently had to build. The things that we want to talk about here, this is where we're going to put Dormammu in place of Thing. Dormammu is going to give this team a little bit more longevity, make it a little trickier to handle. However, if you want to keep Thing in here, Strategist Shiro says Skirmisher is a better way to go on Thing because you're going to have that focus boost to land. I believe it's Disrupt and Stun with Thing. He retaliates. He does not counterattack, so there's no point in trying to put the Skirmisher on him to land vulnerables. It doesn't work like that. Kind of like the Colossus is a retaliation, and Black Knight has a retaliation, not a counterattack. Unless they actually have counterattack above their head, and then they are countering, but that's a whole different story. Yeah, the other thing, let's move Coulson adjacent to Tiger Pants. She is going to have the taunt above her head, and if Coulson gets killed, the medic can revive him very easily, so that's going to be a better placement there. This team is okay. There's a lot of things that are starting to beat it, and it's falling off real fast. For me, this is a B team. It's pretty good, but we can improve it by making some adjustments. And in number 8, I think this is really close to a fail. We're going to give this team a D because Super Skrull and Quicksilver are not... They're too powerful to be wasted on this composition. What we want to put in here is a Firestar, and Chavez would make this really good. Firestar throwing out those bleeds to get Robbie going. Chavez speeding that portion of the team up. You could put Chavez adjacent to a variety of characters depending on what you want to happen here. I like Chavez between Robbie and Firestar, so you're getting those bleeds going, you're getting that early ability block. You could also use the stun off of Black Cat, so kind of depends on what you want to do. But Super Skrull, it's imbalanced right here. You've got one villain and 3 heroes. That's not great. You'd replace Quicksilver with another villain, but then you run like, who do you want to replace him with? And it's not great. So let's just get the whole Quicksilver Skrull thing out of here. Go with Firestar Chavez as an option. The Secret Defenders 5-piece isn't very exciting. You really need to do something with them or use them on offense is the other thing you're going to do if you don't want to go Firestar Chavez. Over in room 9 is the Nowhere team. This is probably the best defense that Sam's got going for him. We'd like to change Thor to a Raider. Otherwise, this is great. This is a really challenging team, and you see it in places. It's tough. It's going to pull a Superior 6 to beat it, and that's kind of what you want, is to pull a big team, or hopefully people fail at trying anything else. So I'm going to go ahead and give this an A, because I don't think that Thor Skirmisher or Thor Raider is that big a deal. But you do have 3 strikers and only 1 person putting out vulnerables. So that's kind of why we want Thor as a Raider. Hopefully that'll help. And finally, in the last room, in room 10, we have the Black Knight Out of Time team. You can run Black Knight, it pulls Superior 6, and so does the previous team, right? So this isn't so bad. However, you have 2 strikers. You have Starbrand, who is probably dying before they take a turn, and then you've got those 2 healers in here. You're not trying to outlast anybody in war. You're not trying to time them out, I guess. I mean, you could time them out. That counts too, right? But better yet, let's try and get some kills in here. And by making more vulnerables on the field for CGR to attack into, by making Starbrand not die before he takes a turn, by making Black Knight last longer, we're going to get more value out of it. So we're going to do a big ISO change on this team. We want Black Knight as a fortifier. We want Captain America as a skirmisher. We want Peggy as a raider. She does AoE attacks and gets more vulnerables out that way. Plus, Peggy does some pretty good damage these days. We want to leave CGR as a striker so he can do his counter assist, which is pretty good. And then we want to make Starbrand a fortifier so that he actually gets to do something. However, this is a pretty good 5-piece team with those ISO changes. That's great. If not, here's what you can do. You can use Black Knight on another team, and then you can use the 4-piece Out of Time, either just 4 characters and some gap placement, or a pre-taunt tank if you really want. And you can use that 4-piece into the New Warriors or other really fast teams. What happens with the New Warriors is they'll take a bunch of turns and CGR is lowering their focus so low that nothing sticks. The damage isn't really happening, and they kind of just burn themselves out. It's that rope-a-dope maneuver, and the 4-piece alone can beat those New Warriors very easily. And then Black Knight is a great plug-and-play character, one of the best characters in the game right now. You can put him on just about any team and spice it up. And as you saw, we're replacing and changing a lot of these teams today, trying to get a little bit more value out of it. War is a lot more about what your entire alliance is putting on defense and leaving for offense. So always check with your war captains. If you don't have a war captain, check with what alliance you actually want to be in if war is important to you. Because it's going to matter what you and everybody else is putting on your alliance, on your alliance war defense. Because if it's just you changing things, then your opponent might have plenty of stuff left over where multiple different people are taking out your teams as a one-shot. But if you are having a similar defense placed as all the other members on your war alliance are doing the same, then you start getting that alliance synergy, and it's really going to make things work. So I hope I gave you some great ideas. Always remember, if you want to go check out those other content creators that come in here and help me, please do so. Pathfinder's great at war and was monumental in today's video, as was Strategist Shiro. So be sure to talk to those guys, find their content, and check them out. Remember, guys, don't just have a good game. Be good to yourselves and others too, and I will see you next time. Bye.